Hi, my name is Anthony Pirio, and I'm going to be talking about why I believe we should end the war on drugs. Since the war on drugs has been implemented, drug use has skyrocketed, and the rates of imprisonment have also. These are some of the reasons we need to end this war. The war on drugs costs taxpayers billions of dollars every year with the plans they make, and has been targeting mainly African Americans, which is leaving the United States very segregated. This war has not helped our country out at all, but more hurt us in the long run. Everybody knows that drugs are a bad thing and stuff needs to be done about it, but what the United States is doing right now is not helping us at all and more dividing us. The war has costed us tons of money, like I said earlier, and roughly done little to no effect on the supply and demand of drugs, and has made the United States as the country with the most imprisonments out of any other country, and most of those people in those jails are African Americans from these drug laws. So let's just start this out with talking about how much money this really has costed us. So let's go into statistics. According to the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics, since the war on drugs has started in 1971 by President Richard Nixon, the U.S. government has spent over $1 trillion on funding it, which is ridiculous if you think about that. In 2019, the budget for drug control in the U.S. was at $29.9 billion. You know how many more programs and things we could be putting this money towards than a program that's not helping us at all? Around 15 of those $1 billion was going towards treatment, which is beneficial. 2 going towards prevention, which is all right. 9 billion towards law enforcement. And the reason so much money towards law enforcement is because we're arresting so many people because of this. And 6 billion to interdirection. Federal drug control spends more money on prevention than it does the treatment of its citizens. In 2019, the U.S. spends around $2 billion on prevention, while only around $1 billion on treatment. And these people need help. They need treatment, not to put behind bars. We spend around $30 billion a year to only get a 90% failure rate and people to stop using drugs, and the rate just keeps increasing. So at these statistics, is it worth to be funding this much money in a program that is not working at all? Does this seem worth it? Now let's go to the effect of the drug war and what it has done. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, an estimated 24.6 million Americans aged 12 or older, which is 10% of the population, has used an illegal drug in the past month. These kids are 12 or older, 12-year-olds using drugs, which is ridiculous. In 2002, the number was down to 8%, and so this means it's just steadily rising. What we're doing and spending all this money is not helping us at all. There has to be another way. Marijuana rates have increased dramatically since 2007. In 2013, the number of marijuana users was at 19.8 million, which is around 8% of Americans. And in 2007, it was around 5%, which was 14 million. So it's just going up, and we're spending all this money. Marijuana has now become legalized in more states for recreational use, which is a reason it's going up, but not all states are legalizing it, so people are still going to jail for this. The American Cancer Society has found that THC, which is in marijuana, can also help relieve pain and nausea. So for medical reasons, this is given out to people and it helps their health. And also found that CBD can help treat seizures and reduce anxiety for people, which is another reason that people are taking this drug. And with all these reasons, the rates are just keep increasing for the users of marijuana. Drug use is at its highest among people in their late teens and 20s. 22.6% of 18 to 20-year-olds have reported using illegal drugs in the past month from a study in 2013. This study was done 7 years ago. The number of people using drugs between the ages of 18 and 20 have probably skyrocketed by then. Drug use is now increasing among people in the early 50s and 60s. So now older people are using drugs too. So they're targeting the younger people, but the older people are doing it also, but not getting arrested for it because they're older and they're not suspected to be doing it. So why are we funding this war if it's not helping us at all? In my opinion, one of the biggest problems in this war is the historical rates of imprisonment in U.S. Americans. According to the ACLU, 2.3 million people are behind bars in this country. That is triple the amount we had in 1987, and 25% of these people are arrested because drug offenses. The war on drugs drives mass incarceration and racial disparities. According to the Drug Policy Alliance, research shows that prosecutors are twice as likely to give a minimum sentence to a black person than a white, which is really meaning that they're letting the white people off easier than the black people and making them serve their sentences. People of color experience discrimination by being more likely to be stopped, searched, patted down, and harshly convicted of a lifelong crimination with these drug offenses. And the thing that is astonishing, there's a fact, and it's not even really related to this, but it kind of is, and it's about imprisonment. A white American with a criminal record has a higher chance of getting a callback from a job than a black American that has a clean slate and no record. That is messed up. So when you add a criminal record to that black person, it makes it almost impossible for them to get a good job. So they have to live life making almost no money. According to the NCAACP, in 2014, African Americans constituted 2.3 million, or 34% of the total 7 million people in jail, which is honestly crazy. African Americans are arrested at 5 times the rate as white people. And the crazy thing is, we're using the same drugs, maybe even more than they are. It's just policemen expect it and target them more than target white people. If African Americans were incarcerated at the same rate as white people were, prisons and jail populations would decline by almost 40%, which is an insane number. Taxpayers also spend around $70 billion a year on corrections and incarceration. Treatment's what is needed for these people, not to be put in jail. Treatment is statistically shown to get people off of drugs rather than throwing them in a cell for something that they have a problem with. In closing, an end to the war on drugs is honestly something that we need to happen. For saving taxpayers a ton of money and getting rid of the historical high rates in prison, we need to end this war on drugs that is ruining tons of Americans' lives. What we need to do here is simple. Just end the war, and people that need help, give them help. And now we're going to look at some graphs and statistics that I have found also. All right, so now let's look into statistics on the war on drugs. So we can see the cost of statistics. Over $1 trillion has been spent on the war on drugs since 1971. $29.9 billion was the budget for 2019 this year, and $9.2 million was the amount spent every day to incarcerate drug offenders in 2015. The potential annual savings on this by law enforcement could be $41 billion, which is huge. And the other thing I find really important and interesting is this: the drug-related arrest rates in the U.S. by per 100,000 people shows how many more black people get arrested than white people. This is a huge problem and needs to be dealt with. And those are what I thought was very important, and here are my sources. Thank you.